Welcome to the Bettendorf Public Library's Take Home Workshop. This month, again in honor of Global Gathering Ireland, we're making St. Brigid's crosses. St. Brigid's crosses were made as an offering to St. Brigid. Her feast day is in early spring, and she promised fine weather from her feast day onwards. The history of St. Brigid's crosses is really quite interesting, and if you go to the website for the National Museum of Ireland and search for St. Brigid's crosses, you'll see an exhibit of different styles that they have and get more history, and it's really interesting to read. I encourage you to do that. That's where I learned about them. So let's take a look and see what is in our kit. The first thing you're going to find are these flax straws. So flax straws, probably not the most traditional material, although straw, usually rushes and reeds were the most common. They could also use grass, hay, wood, goose quills, wire, fabric, all sorts of things to make these crosses. This is what I had access to, so this is what we're using. You're going to want to soak these in water for 10-15 minutes before you start this project. Otherwise, they will tend to break. They're fairly brittle, but once you soak them for a little bit, they're much more pliable. And when you soak them in water, you'll need to weight them down because they are hollow and they will float. So I just put them in a sink, and you can put like a plate on top of them, and that'll keep them down for about 10-15 minutes. The next thing in your kit is going to be string. And any kind of string, any kind of thread or cord. If you want to make something with a little bit more contrast, you could get a nice bright green string. It doesn't matter, just some string to tie off your ends. What you're going to supply, in addition to the water to soak your straws, is just a pair of scissors. So it's pretty easy, it's pretty straightforward. Let's get started. We gave you 16 of these flax straws, and you can use all of them or part of them. The size of your St. Brigid's cross is up to you. We're going to start with one flat, then we're going to take another and we're going to pinch in the middle and fold it in half. And this is where you'll know if you soaked them long enough, because if you didn't, that might break instead of just folding. And we're going to pinch it around this one, and then you're always going to want to hold the most recently folded straw. So we're going to take another straw, we're going to pinch it and fold it in half. And we're going to turn our original one 90 degrees, and we're going to slide that around the straw that we have already folded. Then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to hold the most recent one. We're going to turn it 90 degrees. We're going to take a new straw, pinch it in half, and slide that around. And you're just going to keep going in that same method until your straw until your cross is the size that you want. I will say another thing that soaking these flax straws does is it makes them a little less slippery. The first one I tried, I didn't stroke, and not only did they break quite a bit, they slid all over the place. So this works a lot better. So we're going to keep holding the most recent one, bending our new straw, sliding it around, turn it 90 degrees, and just repeat. St. Brigid's crosses were made as an offering to St. Brigid. Her feast day is in early spring, and she promised fine weather from her feast day onwards. On St. Brigid's Eve, they would have a festive meal of potatoes and butter, and all of the family made these special crosses in honor of the saint. They sought her protection for the fertility of the household, farm, and land, and to safeguard them from illness and disease. So these crosses were hung up in homes and animal sheds, and then the leftover straw was often sprinkled on the crops or incorporated into things like bedding for the animals so as to invoke the saint's blessing as she passed through the countryside on the eve of her feast day. It was also common to give a St. Brigid's Day cross as a gift to those who were moving into a new home, to newlyweds, and with the thought that that would offer protection and wish that couple well in starting a family. They said that you can tell how long a family had lived in a home by how many St. Brigid's crosses were hung up in the eaves. They would hang one every year. It would stay up there. They don't take them down. So as you keep going, it does get, especially with these flax straws, since they're pretty slippery, it does get a little bit harder to maintain your tension, to maintain the tightness of it. So you want to keep an eye on that and just kind of keep sliding those together. If it gets too hard to do that, if you've done like 12 of the straws and it's just wanting to slide out, stop. And there you go. So now all we have to do, and I probably should have done this first, I'm going to take this string that we put in your kit, I'm going to cut it in half. You know, another thing that might be useful would be a rubber band. So when you get this done, just whip your rubber band on right there and it'll hold it in place while you cut your string. So I'm going to cut it in half. And then I'm going to cut it in half again. You're going to need 4 pieces of string. So I'll take one of my pieces and I'm going to tie it around the last completed leg of this. Just like that. Then, now that'll stay together, so I don't have to worry about holding it so tight, but I'm going to make sure everything's kind of square and the way I want it to be. And I'm going to do the same thing on each of these other legs. Make sure that you're tying it high enough on the leg that you're getting all of those straws included in there, that none of them have missed this little. Then I'm just going to go in, I'm going to snip off the tails of my string. And there you have your St. Brigid's cross. This is a 4-arm St. Brigid's cross. If you want, you can trim off the ends, make it a little tidier. Cut slowly, because otherwise these little straw pieces will go shooting off all over your kitchen, I found out. And there you have it. I do encourage you to go to the National Museum of Ireland's website. There is so much information there and fascinating exhibits, and it's really a neat resource. I also encourage you to share your St. Brigid's crosses with us on social media. And we'd like to thank all of our Global Gathering Ireland sponsors for making this take-home workshop possible.